especially when they don't fit the standard of the patriarchy.
Whoa, 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 what? So, ladies and gentlemen, what woke story of the day has enraged the inner anti-woke energy inside of me?
The name's Nukem. Duke Nukem. No, I'm not here to kick ass or chew bubblegum. I'm not here to get even with those alien bastards for shooting up my ride either. I'm here to tell you to watch Jason King on Kung Fu Hot Dog. So watch out for him and his babes of the 1980s. Oh, and one more thing. Hail to the king, baby.
So, if we're going over to Twitter, well, Zack Snyder, somebody I used to revere once as a film director, not anymore, posted this tweet. Looking forward to taking my kids to see Blue Beetle. Hashtag representation matters. I do have to ask myself the question, what is it with Hollywood these days? A long time ago, I used to be really excited about films coming out in the 80s and the 90s, certainly for the first half of the noughties. But nowadays, the thing I find really fascinating about Hollywood are these directors and actors and writers who have been swallowing a different colored pill, and suddenly they seem to be very apologetic and very embracing of things that I don't really care about or things that rub me the wrong way. And of course, I replied with a tweet right here, quoting Albert Einstein, "Insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results." Now, for some of you might not be so initiated as to why, what the meaning is behind my tweet, my response. Basically, every day I see a news story, a headline, where someone like Jack White, he gets upset that people like Guy Fieri and Jim Caviezel have had a conversation with Donald Trump. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, if you talk to him, he's the Messiah, he's the devil. And it's just so, like, and I guess people like Jack White, they'll need to be relevant and then to stay relevant, because since he broke up with his sister from the White Stripes and the White Stripes aren't making music ever again, maybe some of you might think that's a bit of a godsend. This is what we get time and time again. And Zack Snyder, I've got a message for you, mate. I've still got your copy of, or your cut for the Justice League. I'm very tempted, the next time I go for a shit, I might smear some of my doo-doo on that steel case Blu-ray and send it back to you, and maybe I'll just opt for the Joss Whedon version, because at least we got to see some gratuitous butt shots of Gal Gadot, which is always a nice thing in my books. Now I have to become the Prince Nabuta Mafutu from Burundi, and I have to refer to this gentleman as D-Lan, because if I say it any other way, I'm probably going to get demonetized. I might even get demonetized for that awful accent, but hey, it was fun while it lasted. So, D-Lan Malvini, I said his name, has a new video out on TikTok. Well, I say new, it's 4 days old, but it's worth talking about. Mr. DM, who's been taking the HRT apparently, and so far, I can't see any results kicking in, if you get my drift. I can't see any lady breasts popping out at the top. I mean, I'm disappointed in you, Delane. I thought I'd be seeing some whooping cleavage staring at me, but without further ado, folks, let's get on with this.
Hi. Today would be day 500 of being a girl, if I was still keeping up with that series.
Right, so you're not keeping up with that series about being a woman, but now you're on day 500 of being a woman. Again, not just a pretend woman, because I can go one better than that. I've been celebrating 19,710 days of being a biological man. How do you like them apples?
But I found myself in kind of an interesting position, because...
What, 69?
I make the content that I want to make and freely share my trans joy. I subject myself...
This is what I've been doing wrong on YouTube all this time. I'm not celebrating my trans joy on this platform that protects trans people. Oh my god, I should have done this ages and ages ago. I could have been in a different place, boys and girls. But then I wouldn't have certain Caucasian American male supporters shouting at my corner, if you know what I mean. So... Celebrating your trans joy. I'm not sure if I like that phrasing. It's like I'm a heterosexual man, based as hell. I don't go out celebrating that fact. I'm proud to be one. That's it. But do gay men go out celebrating being gay? In some cases, they probably do because they've been oppressed for many years at a time, like in the 80s and the 70s for sure, where being gay, you had to do it in secret. So I guess in some of their cases, they're right to do it. But then again, I haven't seen many gay men along my side of the fence coming up to me going, you know what, Jason, I'm celebrating my 600th day of being a gay man. When you become gay, or if you decide to become gay, that's a quiet celebration or maybe a relief because maybe you've known it all along, but you just were afraid to say anything. But Dylan Malvini, who clearly has a mental disorder and living in a big delusional bubble, well, this is a whole case for doctors to study for years to come, I think. I think poor Dylan is like the mascot for this type of transition.
Myself to a lot more trauma. So lately I've chosen to scale back in order to protect my overall well-being, and it works. I am quite happy, but I'm not doing...
Well, protecting your own well-being is fair enough, dude, but there again, you're kind of mocking that terminology because there are people like veterans from the war who have a lot of well-being to take care of. It's called PTSD. I think this form of TikToking videos where people, not just like D-Lane, but other folks, especially get those women who break down in front of the camera and say, oh, my husband or boyfriend left me after so many days or years. They're trying to fake that as being some form of PTSD. And if you look up the meaning of that four-letter word, it's kind of more attuned to very traumatic events. Having a divorce or going through a simple breakup is not a traumatic event. Get over yourselves.
in what I love, so it's kind of a bittersweet thing. But today's a big day, so screw it. It's day 500 of publicly coming out as a woman, and that's a win. And whatever your take on my series was, at its core, it was about me learning new things, and I think I've learned more since day 360.
Dylan keeps saying that he's 500 days as a woman, but you're not a biological woman, dude. You even made a video calling your dad up, saying, Dad, I think today I'm going to be a woman and date somebody like a man, which is the most bizarre thing you could ever say if you're not a biological woman. It's so weird.
65 than I learned during that whole first year. So I thought we were overdue and we could use today as a little catch up on some of those things. Okay? So on day...
Oh my God! Leg splay! Don't want to see the legs spreading apart, please! Oh my God, I need to unsee that now. Oh.
Day 387, I learned that trust is something that should be earned and not just instantly awarded. I was the most trusting and giving person. I mean, you could walk up to me on the street and I'd probably give you my social security number if you asked. And that...
I'm not sure why you would think about giving your security number, your social security number. Why? Why would you do that? It's like if a beautiful bird walked up to me in the street with big boobies hanging out, I wouldn't give her my national insurance number. Even if she was artificially created by those lovely creations I've been seeing on my PC recently, I still wouldn't give in.
That has definitely changed. On day 398, I learned that misery loves company. I think a lot of people have difficulty seeing others happy and successful.
Misery loves company. Yes, it's called being depressive and taking antidepressant pills, which don't actually make you feel happy. They're a placebo. It's like antidepressants, folks. They're the complete opposite of what they're supposed to do.
Especially when they don't fit the standard of the patriarchy.
Whoa! What? I think a lot of people have difficulty seeing others happy and successful.
Seeing others happy and successful.
Yes.
Especially when they don't fit the standard of the patriarchy.
What is the standard of the patriarchy, Mr. I'm not actually a woman, faking womanhood? The standard of the patriarchy, is it toxic men? What is the standard? Oh, I know what it is. Because this is what I talked about on my Andrew Tate video yesterday. When you have the trans activists out there who want you to accept them as actual women and forget about the depictions of biological women in your video games, in entertainment, because apparently they're not real women anymore. Apparently the non-biological woman is the real woman you should be thirsting over. Right. Thanks for that, Dylan. I've noted that. Not the stand of the patriarchy. Got it.
And I can't tell you enough how much these last 4 months have felt like high school.
I've got to say, though, at least he's got the eye shadow and the dress in tandem. Synchronization of the colors. I really do like that. Actually, I would have put grey eyeliner or shadows above my eyes. Oh my god, am I turning gay? What's going on? What is happening? Am I in the Matrix? Is it the Andrew Tate Matrix? What?
And that pain that I hadn't experienced in my life was recently inflicted fast and furious. And
So he hasn't had pain inflicted in his life, but the pain that he was expecting to be inflicted in his life has now manifested. This guy's got some sadomasochistic tendencies. There are some clubs you can go to, Dylan, for that, where people wear leather and brandish whips. Just saying. Not been to any of those, by the way.
learned that my pain doesn't take away the experience of anyone else's or other women's pain, because pain can...
But dude, you're not other women. You're a man disguised as a woman who thinks he's a woman, but is really a man.
...be limitless, but so is love. But even though our pain might look different, it's still real, and we spend so much time pointing out our differences that we haven't been able to share in our similarities.
Listen, this is from the dude who points out his differences at every available opportunity he can get.
And my hope is that one day we can do things differently and connect in real ways. On day 402, I learned that you can set your comments on Instagram to followers only. So if you've ever seen mean and nasty comments under my posts, just know that that person had to follow me in order to comment that, which is embarrassing for them and also kind of absurd because they're just making my following bigger.
Yeah, let's talk about, so that's his following right here. It's 1.8 million followers on Instagram. That is not bad at all. Of course I'm following him. And I might make the odd comment or two just saying, oh, girlfriend, you look so fine.
Day 408, I learned who my true loved ones are. I had a lot of people come into my life over the last year, but it's fascinating to actually see who goes quiet and who stands up. More than anything, I received pity, which if you ever experienced pity...
Pity, but this is the guy that goes on TikTok looking for pity. You're the pity victim. Huh?
For the receiver, I think it's a way for the giver to soothe their guilt. And not to say that reaching out to someone is bad or leaving a comment, which so many of your comments made me smile on hard days, but I see more productive ways to get active.
I've got to say, Dylan is a very mild narcissist. Somebody brought that word up yesterday when I was talking about Andrew Tate. And good on you for mentioning that, by the way. And I feel that Dylan is that mild form of a narcissist, where again, it's like, I depend on your comments, your positive comments, your vibes to make me feel better. The guy's craving attention. He's put himself under the spotlight in the very first place. And now he hasn't prepared for the consequences of that, good and bad, the abuse in the comment section. So again, you know, he's getting the attention. Apparently, this guy gets 40 grand for an appearance. So clearly he's doing something right and I'm somewhere stuck in the wilderness.
And show rather than tell. But you know who came through for me these last few months? It was trans people and queer people, a lot of which saw all of this.
So trans and queer people came through for you, but straight folks like me didn't come through for you. So if we offered an opinion that was valid and heartfelt, would you still include us amongst the trans and queer folk? I guess not.
Coming because they knew what it was like to be burned and I didn't. And it's like when you're
burned at the stake like Joan of Arc?
Your friend is in a bad relationship and you wait for them to see the light and then they come running back to you. Well, that was the queer community for me. You know, I gave myself and my identity to people who didn't deserve it. And then the
You did that. You gave yourself and your identity to people who didn't deserve it. But you're kind of doing that now, dude. On TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, on IMDb.
Trans and queer community was there to pick me back up without pity. And thank God for that. And thank God for them. Thank you.
Thank you.
On day 422...
Why is he picking these random days? Has he memorized them, or was he just coming out with them because he actually genuinely remembers what day 422 and day 398 and day 500? Well, what?
Graduated to hormone injections, which have worked better for me than pills. And it's been really beautiful to watch my body change and not having to talk about
I still can't see any lady tits though, Dylan, so please work on those.
it. But something really ugly happened during these last few months where I started to believe that
If this dude wants to maintain being a feminine lady, in inverted commas, perhaps lose the biceps there. I can tell he's been going to the gym and giving those bicep curls, the dumbbells, a bit of a good old bashing.
I just got really pretty, and if I stayed quiet, I could still find success. And that broke my heart because I was so proud of using my voice, and I grew to resent it. I grew tired, and I thought that being beautiful was the answer. And I mean, what kind of example is that setting? You know, not a good...
I don't know, Dylan. The example you thought that she might want to set by parading herself as pretty, wearing a Burberry suit and going to Holland for a cold dip in the ocean. I don't know. Maybe you should have thought about that before sitting down in front of your camera and making a TikTok video.
Good one. And I want to set an example for people who aren't naturally good at advocating for themselves, like I was not long ago. And
What, you mean people with mental health issues who can't advocate for themselves? I gotcha, Dylan. Thanks for letting me know that.
I fell back into. And that's what I love about being Gen Z, is that we're holding...
Gen Z is Generation Dead, DED, because obviously YouTube doesn't like the actual word. And I will say this much. Yeah, Generation X... I'm from that generation, from the 70s and the 80s. Best generation ever. Everything is handed to them on a plate now via an iPad, a PC. I didn't grow up with those things, so I'm a bit more well-attuned and, yeah, kind of proud of that.
Celebrities and politicians and companies accountable, and that a video on TikTok can do better numbers than an exclusive news story, because we have...
So the trans activists have held politicians and people in entertainment accountable to them because mainstream video media doesn't actually get the viewing figures that TikTok views do. That's actually true. I would agree with that one point. I'm going to give Dylan that much. He is correct. You do a YouTube video that goes viral or a TikTok, whatever, they get more views than an actual news outlet program. I get that. I kind of agree with that.
A way to control our own narrative, and no one...
But that's the problem. It's the kind of views that maybe the media doesn't want to report on too much because they know they might be pushed into a corner. And, you know, maybe that's already happening, but we don't know it yet.
One can tell your story better than you can. And if you are Gen Z, don't forget to vote. Like Marianne Williamson says, our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. I loved that. On day 475, I learned what it was like to have a gay best friend.
Oh my God, because a gay best friend was a thing we had back in the 90s and the early noughties. It's just like a manager I used to work with at that government place I talked about where all the women were better than the men. And I knew one of my managers had to have a ethnically pleasing BFF as her mate because I guess she didn't want to be seen around town with just Caucasian folk and no one of color. I kind of got that feeling when I saw the two of them together, and I thought, oh, and because it was a remark she made, and I thought, oh my God, you actually drew attention to the person's ethnicity rather than them just being your BFF. I thought, that is so fucking cringe.
Versus being the gay best friend, it was a very big dynamic shift. But I'm also seeing my relationships with women in my life change in really beautiful ways.
Why? Because you can relate to them one-on-one. Dylan, is that right? You know, with actual biological women. Okay, thank you for that bubble of trouble.
And the way that straight men interact with me as I become more passing is just fascinating too. Like I had to come out to a guy last weekend at the club, and he had no idea I was trans. It was so terrifying for me, but he ended up being so lovely about it, and it made me, have a lot of confidence, and I was looking good.
Well, look, I'll say this much. If I was that guy and I met Dylan in a club under the UV lights and maybe had too much to drink, I might mistakenly think he was an actual woman as well, because in certain angles in this video, Dylan could pass as a woman. Again, not a real one. And I'm wondering, was Dylan thinking of taking advantage of the straight guy in the conversation? If the guy had too much to drink? Because if you listen to what he said, I had to tell him I was trans because I don't think he knew I was trans. So again, what was going on before? Was there some sort of chemistry building between the two? So I would say to Mr. Malvini, if you're going to be going into a club, into obviously, I'm assuming it's like a straight gay club, a nightclub, and you're intending on meeting maybe a straight man, you might want to prepare for some shocking truths about how they might react to you. It's almost like he wants the approval of the patriarchy, the straight patriarchy. And again, if I bumped into him, I would have a conversation. I'm not a Neanderthal. I won't go around bashing people who are trans over the head. Like I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I don't agree with the idea of it. It just does not make any sense. And I cannot comprehend it because, again, a gender recognition card does not say that you're now a man to a woman or vice versa. You are what you're biologically born as. That's it. Plain, simple, and truthful. What's wrong with saying that? It's an actual fact. It's a biological fact, right?
On day 486, I learned that blondes do have more fun.
Well, that's actually true. From my experience, they do. But then again, redheads are a whole other story.
And as superficial as that might sound, it softened my features. I feel like I was holding energy and being this cookie cutter version of myself and dyeing my...
But what's ironic is that you are a cookie cutter version of yourself, Dylan. Don't you get it? And the look that you have, the luminescent skin, that's through the filters you use in your videos and your camera work and your lighting.
Hair, it felt like a way to say screw
So
that.
jealous.
I did everything to be palatable. It wasn't enough, but I'm actually a lot weirder and edgier and kooky than I let on. So...
Are you kidding? Really? Edgier and kookier than you led on? But, dude, you're all of those things all in one, but you just don't know it. I think that's kind of very ironic.
Excited to show that. On day 488, I learned through an online poll that 50% of Americans like me. And that felt like a Black Mirror episode because when do non-politicians get polled like that? And I do wish that it was 51%. But
Oh, there we go. Not content that this imaginary poll is 50% each, but he wanted it to be 1% more in his favor. Just one more. Like, that to me is a real narcissist, somebody who's craving the attention. You ought to know better, sir.
I also would like to know, what exactly are we voting on? Because if it's do they like my outfits, I think it would be much higher. But here's what I also learned from that the people that took that poll are judging me based on pictures and...
Well, Penny Mordant of the Conservatives is not only just smoking hot, she wears amazing outfits and she would get my vote any day of the week. So I think, again, Mr. Malvini, you are living in a superficial world where, again, it's not about the substance of the character that matters the most. It's what they wear and look and how they look on the outside. Ah, okay.
And videos and articles. And those things make up such a small amount of who I actually am. And none of those people have met me in real life that took that poll. They wouldn't. It's gross.
But Dylan, the question I need to ask you is, if I met you in real life, would you have halitosis? Please answer me that question. Do you walk with a stick of chewing gum in your very expensive Chanel bag?
To poll someone like that. And not to toot my own horn, but I think that the number would be higher than 50 if the voters had shared a meal with me because I am a very fun dinner date.
Weirdly enough, I'd actually think Mr. Malvini would be fun at a dinner date. And the more I talk about this, it'll be fun for me to meet him and actually try to get into the inner psyche of what makes him this way. It would be absolutely hilarious.
On day 499, just last night,
oh my God,
I learned that you can think you've moved on from something and healed, and bam, life goes, oh no you don't, with a wave of grief or anxiety. So you just have to roll with the punches. And today on 500 is dedicated to my younger self, who didn't get to celebrate so many awesome discoveries because I was just hoping to get by. And today is actually day 9,705 of being a woman, because I've always been one. My 4-year-old self knew that. My 10-year-old self knew that.
When I was growing up, I never thought of myself as being anything other than a man or boy, you know? So, let's carry on.
My 15-year-old self knew that. And they deserve to celebrate these wins too.
So he's revealing that he's got multiple personality disorder. That's what he's talking about. He's referring to younger versions of himself. That's another manifestation, isn't it? It's a multi-personality disorder this guy's got here. But somehow he's putting that to one side and he's discounting it. What?
And I'm celebrating by being on a girls' trip. I'm in France. Oui, oui. And I'm going to go have an Aperol
oui, you better go to the toilet in the next few minutes, my son.
But I just can't stress how much your support has meant to me. And I want to thank you for being along for the ride. I love ya. I hope you have an amazing day. Maybe you'll learn something new too. And, okay, I love you. Woo! Okay. Bye. Today
Mr. Malvini is a fascinating creature. I've got to say that much. He really is. But... oh, God almighty. Wow. I really don't know what to say anymore. It is like living in a delusional bubble, isn't it? Of fake self-pity, taking the hormone injections, and think how your parents must feel, because they must feel let down. Like, oh my God, we gave birth to a baby boy, but now we have to accept the fact in this crazy day and age, living in some weird matrix, not the Andrew Tate matrix, by the way, that your son or daughter can reassign themselves just so they can feel happier in the new fake skin they've been given. So on that one, folks, if this video was very traumatic for you, and if you want to come back for more videos like this, well, I've got to say, people have been asking me to do another DM video, so I thought I would do one for you lot today. So I hope you're happy about that. Make sure you leave a like below. Make sure you slap that subscribe button if you want to. And if you were me, and if I were you, you better come back for the next video. Love you. Bye.